Building your own home studio has never been easier. But just as important as selecting the right equipment is the knowledge how to use it to its full extent.
Welcome back to the Neumann Home Studio Academy. In our previous episodes on recording basics, we showed you how to select gear that suits your purposes best. In this episode, we will show you how to set up your home studio, and we will show you how to use your new recording equipment. Right, we already have our computer, we already have an entry-level audio interface, and, ladies and gentlemen, we have Lisa. Lisa's gonna help us to record one of her songs. Okay, let's do this.
Before you start, please download and install the latest driver software for your audio interface. In addition, many manufacturers offer free software, which is always worth a look. Like many audio interfaces, the one we chose came with an entry-level version of Cubase, Steinberg's popular recording software, which offers all the functions you need to record and mix a song.
Yep. And we have already downloaded the latest drivers of our audio interface, and we have connected its USB port to the USB port of our computer. But we can't hear anything yet. Well, that's because we don't have any loudspeakers yet. And we'll tell you all about the proper setup of loudspeakers in one of our following episodes. But for now, let's just wire everything so we can get going.
Studio monitors usually come with XLR inputs, while entry-level audio interfaces usually come with jack sockets. So, we need cables with XLR male connectors on one end and quarter-inch jacks on the other. Make sure to use TRS jacks with 3 contacts, as studio equipment uses balanced connections for better immunity against electrical interference.
And balanced means that there are 2 signal lines and 1 cable shield. Okay, now let's plug in all the cables, and remember, the output of channel 1 of your audio interface goes to your left speaker, and the output of channel 2 goes to the right speaker. And keep in mind, studio monitors are powered speakers. That means that there's an amplifier built into the cabinet, and that's why you have to plug in the power cords, and you have to switch them on.
To avoid damage, wait until your computer and audio interface are running before you turn on your speakers. And turn off your speakers before you shut down your computer and switch off your audio interface.
Okay, let's see if everything works so far. Lisa has already loaded our recording software, or our DAW, as you want to call it. And the first thing we'd like to check is whether our recording software has loaded the correct drivers of your audio interface. So, let's go to Studio Setup.
On a Macintosh computer, all you have to do is make sure you've selected your audio interface as the audio device. On Windows systems, there may be several drivers to choose from. For best results, select the dedicated ASIO driver for your audio interface. ASIO is a driver protocol specifically developed for fast response times.
That's right. Now, Lisa has already created a simple beat. Let's hit the play button and see what happens. Okay, it works. That's excellent. Now, we mentioned response time. Why would you want a fast response time? Well, if you are editing and if you're mixing, you don't. But if you want to play software instruments, you want to hear whatever you play on the exact same moment as you hit the keys on the keyboard. You don't want any audible delay. You want low latency. Okay? Now, we connected this controller keyboard to our computer via USB.
If your keyboard doesn't have a USB port, you can connect its MIDI output to the MIDI input on the audio interface. Technically, USB or MIDI makes no difference. as USB keyboards still use the old MIDI protocol.
Now, as I said, it is a controller keyboard, which means it does not produce any sound on its own. What it does is it collects all the information on how you play the keyboard and which notes you play, and it sends that information to the computer. In your computer, you can select software instruments. That's pianos, that's synthesizers, drum sounds. And you can play those software instruments in real time. You can do that within your DAW software by using so-called plugins.
Create a new instrument track with the instrument plugin you'd like to use. Make sure your keyboard is selected as the MIDI input device.
Okay, and we have selected a sample instrument with a piano sound. So let's play a note on our piano. Ooh. Did you notice that? There's a small delay between hitting the key and actually hearing the piano sound coming from your computer. Could you maybe do that again, please? That is what they call high latency. And to fix that, you want to go to the driver settings of your audio interface.
Go to Studio Setup and select the appropriate entry for your audio interface. Now click Buffer Size. As you see, the driver is set to the maximum buffer setting with an output latency of 48 milliseconds. That is too much. You would not be able to play in time with a delay of 48 milliseconds. For a direct response, the latency should be no more than 10 milliseconds.
That is correct. So let's lower the buffer size. 128 samples is usually enough. You could select an even lower buffer size, but that would mean your CPU has to work harder.
64 or 128 samples is usually a good setting for creating music. Later on, when you mix your song, you can increase the buffer size in order to free more processing power for effects and signal processing.
Let's try this again. Okay, that's a lot better. So, we are all set and ready to record our first songs, which is exactly what we're going to do in our next episode. In the meantime, if you're looking for specific information on different topics, try our text tutorials. You'll find a link below this video. Thank you for watching. I will see you soon at the Neumann Home Studio Academy.